All right, well, NFL fans and Jet fans, I really don't know where to start. I don't know what to say. I'm numb, okay? I don't know if I'm annoyed. I don't know if I'm disappointed. I mean, there are so many friggin' feelings going through me right now, okay? But, and I actually want to do a rapid reaction, but I had to sit back. I had to take a breath. I had to kind of get my head back into this place because, you know what? For 3 quarters, we got outplayed. Okay, and I'll start. Let's start back. The first 2 quarters. First of all, it was a penalty fest on both sides, between holding and face mask and everything. Okay, on both sides of the ball, and the Jets went head to head with a 2-0 team, a team that's predicted to go to the playoffs and possibly win their division. Okay, and it was 3-3, then 6-3, and then the Jets give up the touchdown and they're playing from behind. Okay, they are in a one-score game late in the second half, and Tyrod Taylor throws a pass down the field, not a long pass, Garrett Wilson stops at the first down marker, and the ball is picked off and brought back for a touchdown. And from that point on, the momentum just slipped away. But with all that being said, the Jets stayed within the game. I think it was 20-something to 6 at one point, okay? And they got it to within a 2-score game. Then they got to within a 1-score game. And then a blocked field goal by McDonald, run back for a touchdown. And the Jets have the lead by 1 with a minute 50 or so left. And the defense Sauce Gardner got knocked out. He's out in concussion protocol. Jermaine Johnson is not in. Quincy Williams got knocked out just before the half. They needed to make one drive stop, and they couldn't. And that is what pisses me off. That is what gets me aggravated, because they were not favored to win this game. A lot of people had them 6.5-point underdogs, not even close to winning this game. And between penalties and not being able to jump on fumbles and intercept or get a sack when needed, Baker Mayfield ran, I think, over 100 yards today. And on the last drive, picked up 33 when they needed to keep them out of field goal range, on a field goal kicker that before that block was hitting everything. Okay, and they can't do that. And they wound up losing, and there's no moral victories. When you're not in the playoffs for 16 years, there are no moral victories. Okay, I get they came back and they almost won the game. You know what? Almost. I don't. Almost doesn't count. You know what? And now, you try not to make it ruin your day or your week or what have you. But now you go through the rest of the football day and you're watching the other games and you're seeing who's competitive and who's not competitive and who can play and who can't play and whatnot. And you go through all this, and then tonight you'll have the post games on and the news on, and tomorrow you'll have talk shows, discussing what could have been or what shouldn't have been. And you still have to wait a week plus a day now because they're playing Monday night against another 0-3 team. Okay? An 0-3 team that almost beat Buffalo on Thursday. So what are they walking into? And that's getting in front of myself. I'm just, what are they going to do? What is going on with this team? And listen, I know I said earlier, in the video prior to the game, it is too early to cast judgment on Aaron Glenn and what he's doing. But the penalties have to stop. The Jet defense needs to force punts. They need to get sacks. They need to force turnovers. They're not doing that. Okay, so they're either out there for 4 or 5 sets of downs and then giving up 3 or giving up a touchdown, or even, making them miss a field goal. But they're out there at chunks of time and at chunks of yardage, and they're not making the plays, and you're 3 weeks in, you're 0-3. Next week you're in Miami on Monday night, 0-3 versus 0-3, and then you're home for Dallas. What kind of outlook do you have? Now, let me tell you, I am a realistic Jet fan, but I look forward to every week, every game, whether it's home, away that we're going to, tailgating, attending the game, the fans, the friends, whatever we made. And I'm looking, and right now it is miserable because there was 2 games, week 1 and today, week 3, that we could have taken, okay? The offensive line that was dominant all through week 1, or most of week 1, didn't show up until close to the 4th quarter today. Okay, Tyrod Taylor was banged up, hit, sacked, strip sacked, whatever you want to call it, multiple times. Okay, offensive line could not really give Breece Hall much yardage, nor Braylon Allen. Offensive line that dominated a couple of weeks back, and they said, all right, AVT is gone, next man up. Okay, but this is just a bad performance. This was a game after they came all the way back. You say, oh, they almost went. No, this was a game they needed to close out. After that blocked field goal attempt and touchdown, the extra point that gave you the lead, your defense needed to go out there and put a stamp on today's game. Knock down Baker Mayfield. Sack him. You forced him out of the pocket. He shouldn't have picked up 33 damn yards. This game should have been a win after that blocked field goal. No doubt about it. And then, not only do you get him into field goal range, then you give up chunks of yards. So now it's a chip shot. It's a 43-yarder. Anything 52 and less should be a chip shot, especially in this day and age. But this was just ridiculous. No matter how many penalties, no matter what happened from the kickoff to a minute 50 left in that game, that defense with a minute 50 left and under should have put a stamp on it, and that would have propelled this team into next week. Now you're 0-3. Okay? Buffalo's 3-0. And just for shits and giggles, just look at it. They're 3.5 games up on you now. Because not only are they 3-0 and you're 0-3, they beat you. And they beat you at home. So you got to play them in Buffalo last week of the season. Okay? Miami's 0-3. They have nothing to lose. They're playing for the lives of their coach next week. Okay? Whether they like him or not, they're going to play desperate. Okay? The coach in Miami's been there, I don't know, 3-4 seasons. I don't know. I really don't like the guy. So he's playing for his job. Aaron Glenn should not be coaching for his job. The guy in Miami should be. But I have not seen an improvement. I have not seen an improvement. And it should be little things, okay? It should be in games that we couldn't close out in the past, we closed out. It should be in games that, we needed a turnover, we get it. It should be in games that we needed to get a 4 and out, we get it. And we're not getting that. We didn't get it week 1, we didn't get it today. Those are 2 wins we should have had, okay? Garrett Wilson as a receiver, the number 1 receiver, a Pro Bowl receiver, I believe he is. The number 1 should have come back for that ball, or at least defend the ball. It went the other way, and that turned the game around. And then the defense, after all the scraping and scratching that the offense did to come back, and they played typical Todd Bowles defense against the Jets, and he let them score, touchdown here, then a touchdown there, and then it got a little too close. And then, Bowles, again, I'm questioning him, but he wound up winning. Instead of, he let the clock run down and moved the field goal back a little bit, the field goal attempt back before it was blocked. Why didn't he just call timeout 1 second left? Why did he take the 5-yard penalty? What was that 1 second going to do? Maybe that 5-yard setup back is what caused Clemens or McDonald to block the field goal. But that's neither here nor there. This video, listen, I am so frustrated and numb. I got my kids pissed off, because most of the game we're like, all right, we're out of it. We're out of it. And then they get within a touchdown. I turn to my wife and I'm like, they just draw me back in. This damn team just draws me back in. And now they're going to do something to make it interesting. And, I got my cousins texting me, I hate this team. I'm watching Red Zone. This team is killing me. And then they take the lead. They take the lead, a lead that they didn't have since the first half. They take the lead with a minute 50, and this damn defense cannot make a stop. And that is what's going to haunt me for the rest of tonight and the rest of this week. And I know it shouldn't. Life should go on this week. Other things should happen. But I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to have my stomach in a knot because they're going to be talking about this game and all the woulda, coulda that could have happened. And that's supposed to stop. That's supposed to stop. A new culture is supposed to stop that. And I know you can't put a new culture in 3 weeks or 6 months. It has to be, but they need to make one damn stop. And in 3 weeks, they didn't make one big stop. They haven't. They have not done that. They have not done that. Okay? Give it up for the special teams that blocked that field goal. But if they don't block that field goal, they lose by 10. Okay? And it's all for naught. Okay? This was a game they could have taken. This is a game they should have taken. Okay? They let Baker Mayfield run all over them. Okay? On that last drive, the last 2 drives, Mike Evans was out. He was out with a hamstring. Now, yes, Sauce Gardner was out, but so was Mike Evans. It is so frustrating. It is so frustrating because all I want to see is success with this damn team. I want to enjoy success with this damn team, with my family, with my girls, with my friends, with my cousins. I want to enjoy it. But we haven't seen it in 16 years. We haven't been close. You know, and everybody says, oh, 2015. 2015, we weren't close. Okay, we went into Buffalo and shit the bed. We weren't close. Okay, we went into Buffalo and shit the bed. Okay, they did nothing that day except lose to a team that was less talented than them twice that year, I believe. I believe they lost to them twice. So, you know what? I am so pissed. I am tired. You know, I am so tired. I look so forward to game day every week. I look so forward to being with my family, being with my girls, whether it's tailgating or just, you know, watching the game at home. And today, props, you know, big ups to my wife. I'm gonna give her a shout out. She made chicken wings. She made this huge friggin' pretzel with dips around it. She had some fried galamad. She had some pizza that she made, and you know, so we did some home gating. But this is just rough. And I know it's all about the company and it's all about making memories. But you know what? I want some of the memories with my girls to be when this team was winning or successful. And they have not seen that. They do not remember the 2009 and 2010 season. They are too young to remember that. They do not remember, you know, the 2006 season. You know, they don't remember any of that. They don't remember any type of postseason. And that's what makes this even harder, because they have not seen it. They have lived through mediocrity. You know, I think the only winning season they saw was 2015, and I'm not even sure what the record was that year, but that was the year again with Todd Bowles, and they lost to Buffalo and Rex. But geez, they have never seen a winning streak like that. They've never seen potential where a postseason, you know, thought popped into our heads, and now at 0-3. I mean, you want to talk about 0-3 and with this team, and there's 14 games left, and that was the talk on Twitter like 2 hours ago, like third quarter. Oh, there's 14 games left. Well, I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to improve it. We have 14 games left, okay? Which means if we win all the rest, we go 14-3. That's not going to happen. We're not even going to come close to that. Beginning of the season, I said between 7 and 10 wins. I'm looking now between 4 and 6 wins. You know, and they can't keep making these mistakes. And what do we look to? I always say this. First month of the season, first 4 games, you're looking for how this team is coming up prepared and how they're winning games or how they're losing games. Well, we've seen them lose one game after having a lead throughout the whole game, back and forth, and plenty of penalties. We saw them come out flat in their second home game against a team that was probably going to go deep into the playoffs. They weren't even close in that game. And then saw them get basically head-to-head for a quarter and a half, go down by a score, put their head between their legs for a little bit, then battle back to lose with no time left on the clock. Okay, so we've seen 3 different ways that this team has not been able to get into the win column. When is it going to change? When is it going to change? You know, they say, and I know Joe Beningo, WFAN, said new coach, new quarterback, new players, different owner at one point, same result. What is it that is causing this? Now, my father, who's gone, said many years ago, Joe Namath sold his soul to the devil. I wish I was around to see that and live through that, but I didn't. I lived through the Mud Bowl. I lived through 98 in Denver. I lived through 09 in Indy, and 10 in Pittsburgh. That's what I lived through. 4 shots to get in, okay? Leading in 2 of those games, basically in 3 of those games, and then, or even 4 of those games late, and they couldn't take the next step. And now we are so far from 2010 and 2009 and 1998 and the Mud Bowl. And we're so far from Joe Namath. We are 0-3. I'm not even going to say, we're going against Miami. That should be a win. You can't say that. If this team keeps making the same friggin' mistakes, you cannot say that. Now, who's our quarterback next week? If Justin Fields doesn't have a concussion, who's our quarterback? Listen, I thank you for listening to me. I had a vent. I don't want to yell. It's not worth it, but this was just a heart-wrenching loss today. I left MetLife Stadium 2 weeks ago today, losing to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers with the Boo Birds come back and all that bullshit from Aaron Rodgers, and said, this team showed me heart. This team showed me they could score. This team showed me they could play with anybody. And now I don't know what this team is. Anyway, have a great rest of your week. Stay blessed, whatever you call it. Stay healthy, stay safe. This is the Takeoff. You could tweet at us at the Jets Takeoff is our Twitter handle. You could email us at thejetstakeoff@gmail.com, or you could follow us on this video. The Takeoff is the account name. At the Jets Takeoff is the channel. Enjoy the rest of your football Sunday. Have a great week, and we'll talk later on this week.